Summary completion with a box or word list is one of the difficult questions in IELTS reading. After watching this video, you will get a lot of ideas and tricks on how to solve this. The title is What Happens When People Encounter Misinformation. So the whole passage is going to be about misinformation. Now underline the keywords from the summary. Although people have dashed to misinformation, there is debate about precisely how and when we label something as true or untrue. The philosophers Descartes and Spinoza had dashed about how people engage with information. Now, understand that when you have keywords such as names, it gets a lot easier to find the location. So I'm going to find the location of Descartes and Spinoza from the passage. Descartes and Spinoza. Descartes and Spinoza. Descartes and Spinoza. Where is that word? Here we go. René Descartes and Baruch Spinoza. For summary completion, the answers are either gonna be in one paragraph or maximum two paragraphs. Now read again the question. Although people have dashed to misinformation, there is debate about precisely how and when we label something as true or untrue. I'm going to read from here, okay? Although it is fairly routine for individuals to come across information that is false. Information that is false means misinformation. This is called paraphrasing. Misinformation. Now, if you don't know information that is false is misinformation, then it can create a little trouble for you. But with practice, you get accustomed with that. Although people have dashed to misinformation, there is debate about precisely how and when we label something as true or untrue. Okay, true or untrue. Debate. Debate, true or untrue. Untrue means false. This is also called paraphrasing. Now I'm going to read this full sentence. Although it is fairly routine for individuals to come across information that is false, the question of exactly how and when we mentally label something as true or false has garnered philosophical debate. Now the answer is surely gonna be in this line. Now read here. Although people have, what did the people have? Although it is fairly routine for individuals to come across information that is false, towards misinformation, fairly routine is our answer, but you cannot write here fairly routine. We have to find out the synonyms of fairly routine from the word list. Okay, now find out what would be the correct answer. Fairly routine, not this one, not this one, not at all. Fairly routine. Frequent exposure. Frequent exposure means something that happens on a daily basis, on a daily basis, or that happens regularly. Other options do not match with the same words as in the passage. So frequent exposure and fairly routines are similar words. So I'm going to write here letter Z. Don't write here frequent exposure, write the correct letter G. Next, the philosophers Descartes and Spinoza had doubts about how people engage with information. Now I'm going to continue from debate because this is a type of questions where the questions and answers are in order. The dilemma is neatly summarized by a contrast. Contrast means difference. Here it means difference between how the 17th century philosophers Rene Descartes and Baruch Spinoza described human information engagement with conflicting predictions that only recently have been empirically tested in robust ways. Now I can understand that here the two philosophers, Descartes and Spinoza, had a contrast views on human information engagement or the information in general. Now we have to find out the similar information from the word list. They have mentioned conflict, but the conflict is not constant. Constant means something that happens regularly, something like that. There is no information on additional evidence or locations, no subjects, any period. What could be the answer? Different ideas, exactly. For different ideas, they have mentioned here contrast. Okay, contrast. The dilemma is neatly summarized by a contrast between how this and this describe human information engagement. So these two philosophers had different or contrast opinions, views, ideas on human information engagement. So the correct answer is going to be different ideas. Now write here the correct letter. Don't write the words or phrases. Write down letter J. Now, read from here. While Descartes believed that people accept or reject information after considering whether it is true or not, Spinoza argued that people accepted all information they encounter and by default misinformation and did not verify or reject it until afterwards. Okay, find out the keyword Descartes, true or not, default information from the passage. Descartes, truth, falsehood, that means true or not. Misinformation, here we go, misinformation by default. Okay, we are up until here. Now continue from here. Moreover, Spinoza believed that a distinct dash is involved in these stages. Now, they might paraphrase the word distinct by using different synonym. Let's find out from the passage. Spinoza, okay, we were here, and then subsequently verify or reject it through a separate cognitive process. Okay, through a separate cognitive process. Distinct means something that is prominent. Okay, that is prominent, prominent. See here the article or. I can see here the article or. Now the answer is gonna be from this phrase, separate cognitive process. For separate, they have used distinct. Okay, distinct means something that is prominent, that is not common or ordinary. So the answer is cognitive process. Okay, but you will not find the answer cognitive process from the list. You have to find out its synonyms. Okay, now let's see what is the synonym of cognitive process. Cognitive process means something that is related to mental processes, mental operation. Okay, find out from the list. Mental operation. If you don't know the meaning of cognitive process, then it can be a difficult for you, but it's okay. Write down here H. Recent research has provided data for Spinoza's theory, and it would appear that people accept all encounter information as if it were true. Okay, find out recent research, Spinoza's theory from the passage. Continue from here. In recent decades, empirical evidence from the research teams of Eric Asp of the University of Chicago and Daniel Gilbert at Harvard University, among others, has supported Spinoza's account. Spinoza's account, here account means theory. What has the recent research provided dash for Spinoza's theory? Read it carefully. Take your time here. Okay, they have provided empirical evidence. Okay, empirical evidence. Now we're gonna look for the similar word for empirical evidence from the list. Empirical evidence. I can see here evidence. Empiricals mean additional evidence. The correct answer here is B.